What is something ancient that only an internet veteran can remember? Readable newspaper homepages. Seriously, what happened with them? News sites are always so messy. Advertisements. It's all about advertisements. And a few years ago many decided to get on that terrible slideshow bandwagon. Netscape Navigator AOL sending disks through the mail offering 500 hours of free web access. Alta Vista Ask Jeeves. Still have enough of them lying around to sharpen their edges and take on a zombie apocalypse single-handed. Printing out pages and pages of cheat codes for games. Using the internet or the phone, not both. Get off the phone, I'm trying to use the internet, simpler times. Get off the internet, I need to make a call my mom, constantly. The .com version of a .org.gov site being porn. Whitehouse.com. Ah, the good old days of convincing kids in computer class to look up something about the president. We dealt with a professional society. .org that used an anagram. The .com version was a Spanish-language porn site. Since it was 4 initials and this wasn't a huge deal like the US government, I don't think it was a troll, per se, but it got me every time for years. We used to also call the US Post Office with questions before they had a website. The 800 hash was one number switched from a sex phone line, very tame, hi guys call me at 1 to 900. The number switch was very subtle and hard to remember, like -1211, versus -1121. Anytime someone asked for the number, I used to remember all the phone numbers, it'd give them the wrong one or fake them out with the correct one. It was hilarious. When a TV show would say to check out their website at http www. Having to spell it out every time. When Oprah had a guest, an elderly lady, whose name was .com, and she didn't understand why she kept hearing her name everywhere. Actually running out of pages on the internet to look at. You could always use the StumbleUpon toolbar in Internet Explorer to go to a new site. Oh man. You reminded me of StumbleUpon. It was the original content finder for me. Replaced by Dig. Replaced by Reddit. Teresa knew StumbleUpon. Stumble.to. I use it to kill an afternoon every once in a while. Winamp skins. Winamp. 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 It really whips the llama's ass. Alta Vista. And Lycos and Excite. Webcrawler. The original Google. Ask Jeeves. Not having internet and playing Minesweeper, Solitaire, and Pinball instead. When it was called the Information Superhighway. In 6th grade I wrote an article for the school newspaper contending that it should be called the Information Toll Road since it cost $10 a month for 5 hours of use. Making web pages using simple HTML. I was talking about this with my 17 years older friends because they were asking how I have the computer literacy I do. I had to explain that social media as it is today didn't exist. If you wanted a place where people could find you, you had to teach yourself HTML, build a web page. Then when MySpace showed up, most, if not all, editing had to be done in HTML. There weren't simplified websites or apps to edit photos either. They were amazed, the most impressed with me I've ever seen them be. I felt like an elder sharing my wisdom with the village. At 36 years old. My 13-year-old is taking a coding class and they started learning HTML. He was shocked when I was like, oh sweet, I can help you with that. I only wish I still had my web pages from 1998 to show him. Oh man, right? I was just poking around a minute ago to see if Wayback or another service had stored the old GeoCities sites, but it sounds like there were so many that they only logged the larger ones, and mine almost certainly had zero traffic. That wasn't me or my mother being forced to look at it for the 30th time by me. Plus I'm fairly certain I hadn't touched it in a decade when GeoCities finally folded. Rip Mango Man's Blinky Paradise and all of your Neopets themed pixel atrocities. Edit, and on that topic, Blinkies themselves totally go on this list. I commented below, but it's buried in 6K plus comments. It's hard to even find record of Blinkies anywhere other than on Tumblr, lol. Weird little squares with blue and red on them that would sort of take the place of graphics until the graphics would actually load. The text would be visible but the graphics wouldn't be there yet. Watching a picture load line by line. Internet dial-up sound. And yelling at anyone picking up the phone when you were online. Amazon only selling books. Free shipping only on orders above $35 and it took 7 to 10 business days. All your base are belong to us. Asl PLS? 18th Kali. I put on my robe and wizard hat. LimeWire. Using LimeWire to get LimeWire Pro. Good times. When I figured this out, I felt like the ultimate hacker. Then I got a bunch of viruses. Edit. Bad at grammar. So many viruses. The beginning of the eternal September end.wikipedia.org. Edit. Wow. All the response and awards and stuff, y'all are awesome. Edit 2. For those asking whether this is what the Green Day song is about, no, it's a tribute to his dad. n.m.wikipedia.org. Encarta. D. Okay. But where can I find that weird maze puzzle trivia game that was in Encarta? That was one of my favorite things to do as a kid. Ha. Was this the one with the gesture court theme? Man, I remember calling up my uncle to tell him I'd beaten it. He gave me the CD. Also the parts where you had to assemble things, dinosaur bones, insect parts. And the different instruments from around the world. Wow, that's a blast from the past. My siblings and I spent hours playing that. Also, you don't know Jack. Lots of jokes flew over our heads but was a very entertaining game. Loved screwing your opponent. Homestar Runner. Trogdor. Edit. I absolutely love that this brought back so many memories for people. Me included. Up to this day I still know that you need to draw a consummate versus in order to draw a dragon. Next to the S and the other S, of course. Yep, first you draw an S, for snake. Or dragon. Then you draw a more different S. MapQuest. Now we just have Google Navigation and Apple Maps. Haha, I remember printing out directions from MapQuest. Actually typing out emojis. Like who knew, turned into a monkey in chat? To this day I still use dollar as the embarrassed face, and no one knows what the duck I mean. I still use tongue as my shorthand for I'm just fucking around, don't take me too seriously, to the extent that people my fucking age accuse me of being a boomer because I don't know how emojis work. Thanks, MSN Messenger. You have ruined me. Text emoticons just seem so much more sincere than emojis. Like the handwritten letter of emojis. Sincere, and written with care. 3. Web rings. You go to a site, often a GeoCities site, for something you are interested in and see a little arrow at the bottom of the page. This arrow will take you to another site on the same topic. If you are crazy diligent enough, you will eventually return to the first site. And guest books on those sites too. And the visitor counter. Fat guy dancing to Numa Numa, this comment made it onto YouTube lol. Hashtag Mayahi. Having your own web page that you hosted for free on GeoCities or AngelFire or Yahoo homepage or something similar. When I was a kid, everybody had their own website, which was usually just a landing page with a hit counter, some picturesque photos, an MP3 of their favorite song and some general musings, maybe an about section or a blog if they were serious about maintaining it. They were always slapped together with the most basic HTML editors with god-awful formatting and infested with banner ads and pop-ups. I actually really miss those days, because the modern social media sites are creatively bankrupt and hosting your own website and actually making it good has become a more complex affair than it used to be. It's still around, but lacking the same charm. You forgot the under construction banner and construction worker digging GIFs. Ask Jeeves. Now it's just Ask and it's a terribly advertiser-influenced Google engine. Rotten.com was the dark site that actually showed photos of the horrible things you heard people say were available on the inner tubes. Photos of some guy, dressed in sexy lingerie, self-choked to death in a masturbation marathon of some kind but who had been dead for a few weeks before being found and photographed. That was inner tubes back then. Rotten, fugly, ogreish and steak on cheese. The worst thing was how common they were, like we would meet up at school and be all did you see that guy with his dick in the grinder and then everyone was all lamau yeah ha ha like it was normal shit. That and the anarchist cookbook. Every 13-year-old kid knew how to make acid and pipe bombs in school.